Que parles anglès?
Que parlas anglés? So what is the que doing there? What do you speak English? Is that a yes/no question, introducer?
Que.
Hablas inglés? Okay. Let's see. Catalan preserves the older vowel a in the word for English, whereas Spanish writes how it sounds in English, inglés, for the first syllable. So the ka as a question particle looks like what Hindi does. It has the word ga. And if you just say what and then a question sentence, it means yes or no.
Com és la dona?
Is the woman. ¿Cómo
Com.
está la mujer? ¿Cómo está la mujer? ¿Cómo es la mujer? Why would it be S for that meaning?
Com prepara el dinar? Com prepara el dinar? El dinar.
Okay, R is dropped from the sound. How does he prepare the money? ¿Cómo prepara la comida? How is the food prepared? I'm not sure I understand this. Tell me if you know. Does it mean how does one? Or like how is it being prepared at this moment?
Un suc.
It's like a juice, un jugo.
I tu qui ets?
¿Y tú quién eres? Who are you? ¿Y tú quién eres? So the qui looks really close to the nominative form in Latin, quis. But I wonder if it comes from quem, just like quien. ¿Y tú quién eres?
I tu qui ets?
Yes. Interesting. ¿Quién eres? Oops.
Què menja la nena?
What does the girl eat? ¿Qué come la mujer? La niña.
On escriu el nen?
On.
On.
¿Dónde? En Latin. ¿Dónde escribe el niño? ¿Cómo prepara la comida? ¿Cómo prepara el dinar?
Que menges pomes?
¿Comes manzanas?
Que menges pomes?
And it sounds like a ka rather than the written vowel. ¿Bebes agua? ¿Qué beus agua?
Què escrius?
¿Qué? There meaning what? What are you writing? ¿Qué escribes? ¿Quién escribe la carta? Asking about the subject. ¿Qui escriu la carta? ¿Qué escribes? Meaning what? Do you write? ¿Qué escrius? This form for you subject. ¿Dónde is on? ¿Dónde come el león? Where does the lion eat? On menja el lleo. El lleo. Double L for palatal. Lia. ¿Y tú quién eres? And you? Who are you? ¿Tú quiets? ¿Y tú quiets? ¿Dónde escribe el niño? On escribe el nen.
Com és la dona?
¿Cómo es la mujer? How is the woman? There we go. ¿Cómo es la mujer?
I tu qui ets?
¿Tú quiets? And you, who are you? ¿Y tú quién eres? Preguntas.
Quan.
Should say, welcome back to Language Institute. I'm your VerbAlly. We're beginning with some Catalan this evening. Quan.
Quan.
T at the end is not heard in this case.
Quan.
Maybe if there was a vowel following.
Quan.
Cuánto, how much? Single word. It's a two-word phrase in English.
Quan llegeix llibres la nena?
Quan llegeix.
Quan llegeix llibres la nena?
Llegeix. Thoroughly palatalize this word. All the vowels and the consonants are palatal. Quan llegeix.
Llegeix.
La nena.
Quan llegeix llibres la nena?
Llegeix. Cuando la niña lee los libros. Sure about the word over here. Lee libros, I guess it would have to be. Cuando lee libros la niña, subject last. When reads books the girl.
Quan prepara el dinar?
When prepara el dinar. When, no. When?
Quan prepara el dinar?
Cuando prepara la comida.
Per què deus vi?
Perché beus vi? Vi being you. Porque bebes.
Veus vi.
Oh, vi.
Quines són les teves dates?
Quines is like a plural pronoun. Who, all, plural. Quines, cuáles. Son tes leves gatas. Les teves gatas.
Quines són les teves dates?
Teves gatas. Quines son las teves gatas? ¿Cuáles son tus gatas? So here for the
Gatas.
Interesting. Yeah. ES spelling. Just one that sounds two.
És una pregunta.
Es una pregunta.
Quantes preguntes?
¿Cuántas preguntas? ¿Cuáles son tus gatas? ¿Quiénes son las teves gatas? ¿Quiénes son las teves gatas?
Per què escrius la carta?
Why are you writing the card? ¿Por qué escribes la carta? ¿Cuál es la pregunta? Pues, ¿quién? ¿Quién es la pregunta? Quina. So, showing agreement, feminine, with the noun for question, pregunta. For those two from English. ¿Cuál es tu perro? ¿Quién? It must be this word gos for dog. Es el teu gos. ¿Quién es el teu gos? And an N final is often dropped, but here we have a vowel following. We would hear the N. ¿Cuándo prepara la comida? ¿Cuándo prepara el dinar? So in Catalan compared to Spanish, there's greater tendency toward asymmetry, where the tonic syllable is preserved, but a post-tonic one, so an unaccented, gets reduced a lot, all over the place. Instead of the old cuando, preserved faithfully as a two-syllable word in Spanish, here just the first survives. Cuántas preguntas. And so is the old Latin spelling with Q-U-A. Cuántas Preguntas. And the feminine plural, es. ¿Por qué? ¿Per qué? ¿Cuánto? ¿Cuánto? Interesting. Oh, this one, okay, with the voiced. Look at that. So Latin cuando, when gives Catalan quan, and quantum, how much, gives quant. So here the language, paradoxically, somewhat atypically, compared to most languages, has kept the nasal voiceless stop cluster quant, which is dispreferred in languages.
Quan llegeix llibres la nena?
Quan llegeix llibres la nena, with the subject last. When reads books the girl. Cuando lee libros la niña. Cuánto. That will be quant. Así se hace. So it does itself. Let's do something with another script too. Fix that muscle. So none of these. Russian is next. Animals it is. Make it start off a little easier. Dogs.
Змея.
Zmeya for snake.
Лев.
F. Where the V or F comes from an old vowel. O, U. Sobaki.
Собаки.
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 Lion, лев.
Мышь.
Мышь. Мышь.
Собаки.
Собаки. So I think they're accented on the middle syllable.
Лев.
Лев.
Лев ест.
Лев ест. Лев ест. Lion eats. Lion is eating. Snake was змея.
Птица.
Pizza with a PT cluster.
Собаки.
Собаки.
Змея.
Змея. So English too has a fricative nasal cluster. It's a different nasal in Russian, but also fricative with it. Mush, mush,
Мышь.
mush, with a high central vowel.
Собаки. Змея. Мышь.
Здесь живет лев.
Живет. Лев. Oh, it's живет.
Здесь живет лев.
Живет has a nice Sanskrit cousin. Looks quite like it. This is the verb lives. And in Sanskrit we have jivati with a long E. Here lives the lion. Means the lion lives here.
Моя птица ест яблоки.
Bird eats apples. Яблоки is the plural. And птица is feminine.
Птица пьет молоко.
Птица пьет молоко. Bird drinks milk. Птица
Птица.
пьет.
Пьет.
Пьет, I guess anciently a two-syllable word. And it wouldn't have been a final T though in Proto-Slavic. Pьет, пьоти. Probably three syllables then.
Птица пьет молоко. Мышь. Молоко.
The bird drinks milk.
Это змея.
Это змея. This snake? Is it a snake? Is this a snake? Is it a snake?
Кошка ест мышь.
A cat eats a mouse. A cat eats a mouse. Кошка ест мышь.
Где мои собаки?
Is my dog. Мои, this could be plural.
Мои собаки.
Where are my dogs?
Собаки или кошки?
Собаки или кошки? Собаки. Или кошки. The dog's already a cat. Dog or cat. Собаки или кошки? Dogs or cats.
Где моя мышь?
Where is my mouse? I wonder if they call a computer mouse that too. Где моя мышь? Petitza. Nice one. Leva asks, what do you call a small bird? This is a cross-linguistic French-Russian pun. Petitza. I wonder if that Irish word for the bird is related. E-A-N? What's Irish for bird? A-N, yeah. An. Not showing up. So an old P would have deleted, and if the T was in contact with the N, it might have deleted too. Place. Fetnos. Yep, looks like a relative from the root pet, to fly. Proto-Celtic fetnos with a bilabial fricative. Где моя мышь? Where's my mouse? My bird, моя птица. Right, now to a Russian keyboard, Cyrillic one. Doing моя птица. So M-O-J-A P-T-I-C-A. Моя птица. Is it a snake? Это змея. Змея? Змея. It's a special symbol. It's the only, I think the only word that begins with a sound, or just about. Not a z. Wrong one. The backwards E here. Это змея. E and then J-A for a ya. Это змея. Alright, let us turn to the recitation. Let's jump right into the Shiva Sutra.
Gunavriddhi.
Maheshwarani Sutrani. Do you recall the meaning and breakdown of the first word here, especially? Maheshwarani, retroflex. What's it made of? What's the form? So, the pain of reading Sanskrit is always looking for the noun, the nouns that agree with each other to form phrases. The verbs are not particularly difficult. They don't mark the object, they just mark subject. They're like the verb system of any Indo-European language, pretty much. Preserving the dual, but it's not too common. The verbs, you get a lot of great diversity of verbal tenses also, but that's not so bad. I think the pain is just, well, to me, it's worse in Greek and Latin, recognizing what words are in a phrase together because they may not actually be adjacent, and the endings themselves, where they show up, can be diverse. What's an example? Well, we did that inflection of res publica. The first word, oh, that's not too helpful. Publica. These are a phrase together, but the endings are not alike. Right? They're both feminine. The adjective publica is agreeing with the head noun, but like I say, you wouldn't know just from looking at them. That kind of thing is painful to recognize in Latin. It's a little bit better in Sanskrit just because the inflection system, yeah, it's close. So the stem really meaning big, it's mahant. It has an internal structure. And the nominative form, nom singular masculine form there is maha. That's the first component. So what that means, the fact that it's nom singular masculine is to the grammarian, it means this, that your stem is mahant and the ending reflects what else but su. So it's time for another case form too. Let's learn the number. Okay, let's do one thing at a time. Let's talk about the breakdown of Maheshwarani. So we don't actually see an A. We see this letter E, pronounced A in the middle there, after the H. Maheshwarani, that needs to be explained. While you're thinking, I'll be replaying this.
अयुण रुद्रक एवोम अयौच हयवरट लन न्यमगणनम झभय घढधश जबगडदश ख फ छ ठ थ चटतव कपय शशसर हल इति माहेश्वराणि सूत्राणि। अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः प्रथमः पादः वृद्धिरादैच अदेङ्गुणः इको गुणवृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके इति च दीधीवेवीटाम् हलोऽनन्तराः संयोगः मुखनासिका वचनोऽनुनासिकः तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णम्।
That's our sutra for today. Let's hear it again.
वचनोऽनुनासिकः तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णम् का
Deva says, so the NT is dropped. The S of the su occurs. Since it is final, it is dropped to make the maha form. Yeah, all those consonants there, you get compensatory lengthening of the but ultimately they all drop out. Maha. That is correct, yeah. So the S tends to have a deleting effect on N and T. Yeah, very good. What's the second component in Maheshwarani? We've got, it's a compound word, and it has a case number ending, a sup. It's a subanta word, meaning that the case marker is present. Subanta, which is a bahuvrihi compound. I like the abbreviation BV, having sup as its end. Okay, so let me get the syllable, the sutra for us. Tulyasya prayatnam savarnam, and we'll transliterate that and translate. Prayatnam savarnam. Tulyasya prayatnam savarnam. There's nothing continuing from previous sutras. This is another definition. The term to be defined is savarnam. The term being introduced is usually in final position in the sutra. An exception is 111, where the word being defined is the first word. Vrdhi. Arni is a suffix. Sort of. It's really the transition from the suffix, from the stem to the ending. let me dispel the mystery. We have this stem in the middle as component to Ishvara. And the sh is a voiceless palatal. That website I shared with you today uses Z to write this sound, sh, because it's not otherwise used for Sanskrit. It's available. So, can you recall the meaning of Ishvara? There's a verbal root ish meaning rule. Ish. Next. So for the verb roots themselves, I like to use cat. Please do. Yeah, well, let's finish up the form and meaning of Maheshwarani, and then we'll get to the sutra. That is the plan, please.
धातुके इति च दीधिवे वीटां हलोऽनन्तराः संयोगः
Oh, we heard that.
मुखनासिका वचनोऽनुनासिकः तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णं वचनोऽनुनासिकः तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णं वचनोऽनुनासिकः तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णं.
So this is the 9. It comes right before 10. 1, 1, 9. Very similar looking figures. I haven't mastered them either, the numerals. Just haven't been forced to yet by what I've read and studied. Time I'll do a bit of Korean. I need to boost that a bit. 소금.
주스,
Jusu. Interesting that the S there is so long.
감자,
감자, not tense.
소금,
소금. Clearly aspirated initial S.
소금.
소금.
키가 작은 남자는 뛰어요.
키가 작은. So someone whose height is short. 남자는 man, short man. 뛰어요. 뛰어요. 뛰어요.
뛰어요.
Jumps, runs. It's not Shwara. That is not meaningful. Ishwara means Lord or God. So Maheshwara is the stem of the compound. It's very important to be clear about the status of each sound, what thing it belongs to, in order to get a proper understanding of the grammar. Maheshwara is a fusion of Maha and Ishwara. 키가 작은 남자는, that's the topic part. Man, and 뛰어요, I've managed to forget it already in that short time. Jumps or runs. Any mnemonic here for the running? Nothing jumps out at me yet. Ha, jumps.
큰 남자,
큰 남자, the modifying form of this
남자.
state of verb, being big. A big man. 2 and 3 of Sanskrit numerals are super recognizable. That is good. Let's just wrap up this Maheshwara thing so we can move on. Maheshwarani. Tell me just ask me what you don't know and I will tell you. But I think, well, we did mention it the other day. Varani. About the ending though, that is a form of the affix, or the replacement rather. This doesn't have the status of an affix per se, but it's an adesha replacement. It's called shi, and the sh is a label letter. And in this noun class, with the stem ending in which is Indo-European o, this is the largest class for nouns in Sanskrit. The neuter plural ending is going to be, so nam accusative, nam accuse, plural neuter is always going to have ani. So it's a lengthening of the stem final, and then the suffix itself gets an augment n, and it's the e of she. That's the replacement for neuter of the morpheme jus. She is a replacement specifically for neuter words. And just marks nominative plural. Just and shus, I should say. Those two. Because in the neuter, it's always the same form for nominative accusative. So it won't be Ishwaranaha, but it wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be Ishwaraha. Big rule of the king. No, there is no vara part. Actually, I cannot, because the A is a fusion, but I can break it down. The question was, can I write hyphens between each morpheme? Not possible, unless I undo the sandhi, as we might say. So what it reflects is Maha plus Ishwara. And then that's the end of the stem. A of any length and E of any length, when those meet, whether within a word or between two words, the outcome is A. It's called a diphthong for that reason. Maheshwara means great lord, deity, lord, ruler. And it refers to Shiva. They're called the Shiva Sutrani. Shiva is just the stem form of it. Nominative would be Shivaha, Shivau, Shivaha. There's three forms for every case. The Great Lord. So Maheshwara Sutra, the Sutra of the Great Lord, or Shiva Sutra. Refer to those introductory 14 rows. Super. Excellent. Let's take a look now. And now can you transcribe the sutra, please? So this page, I'm told, was just updated. Maybe move to the top also. Here's the new one for Chinese. An actual in the flesh photo. Oh look, how nice. Got, can't quite tell. Korean on the left, and this is the all-purpose one, I think, on the right. Oh, actually, wada is a part. It's not that the wada means king. The root is ish, and there's a suffix to derive a noun, wada. We have it actually in, if you ever saw, what's it called? Slumdog Millionaire, Jamal the Chai Walla. That walla goes back to the Sanskrit family of affixes. So ish is the to rule, to be king, and wada, the rule guy. Nominalizing suffix. What we call roots in Sanskrit and Indo-European, they're basically all verbal. You can derive verbs as well as nouns from verb roots and adjectives. Kun namja, a big man. We did that.
우리는 신선한 고기만 먹어요.
우리는 신선한 고기만 먹어요. We only ate 신선, fresh meat. We only eat, I should say. So in the case like the a and e coming together, they're in that compound where you have those two sounds coalesce into a single phoneme. That is considered by the grammar gurna replacement of that diphthong. I'll eat fresh meat. Shinsun is from Chinese. To verbalize it, you need a hada
신선한.
for the modifying form. Meat, which is fresh only, That's what we tulyasya praya something savarnam. Very good. Yep. Need to see larger. Happy to. Very good job there. Tulyasya prayatnam savarnam. Nice and big here. It's one within another consonant instead of side by side or above and below. I can continue over here while you're looking at that. Kogi is meat. Man replaces the accusative marker, rul, to delimit, to say only that much.
이 오렌지 주스는 씁니다.
오렌지 주스는 씁니다. This orange juice topic 쓰다.
씁니다. 쓴 차는 맛없어요.
쓴 차는 bitter tea. 맛없어요 is not tasty.
짠 소금.
짠 소금. Something salt, hot salt,
짠.
salty salt. Best kind of salt.
짧은 연필.
짧은 연필. 짧다, 잡다. There.
짧은.
A short pencil. And with that N suffix, it's modifying the following noun.
우리는 짧은 메시지를 짧은 연필로 씁니다.
Wrote a short message with a short pencil. Love it. Get my Korean keep.
우리는 짧은 메시지를 짧은 연필로 씁니다.
우리는, as for us, not CCJJ, 짧은. That's this root here to be short, and an suffix. Message.
우리는 짧은 메시지를 짧은 연필로 씁니다.
Here first the object is named, and then the instrument. 연필, capital for the aspirate. The ears are telling me, yes, it is a tanum. So the breakdown, let's look at the base. Oh, it's gone now. Prayatnam is the word. Nam. The components are ta and na. So the N there, they share the stem, the down stem. The N is now tucked under the T. For contrast, the word anta, meaning end, with the same consonants in the opposite order, has them like that, with the N outside just clearly to the left of. Here the N sign is just tucked underneath, and that counts as two characters for this word processor. Prayatnam. Alright, so let's look at the pieces. Prayatna is from a root yat. Pra is a prefix. This class of thing is called, it's not really a prefix. As I just said, there are no prefixes in the grammar. This is really the first component in a compound. The Sanskrit name for this thing is upasarga. Little things like we have from Latin and from Germanic too, the pre, for, all those guys. Very frequent in verbal compounds. Prayat is a root meaning, like to put forth effort, I think. Let's see. A good definition for the root yat. And the derivational affix is na. Prayatna. And the rest is case ending. In the grammar, this term means articulatory effort. Yaradaga. Ya first in the sonorants, and then yat will be to stretch is the meaning. So stretching forth, going morpheme by morpheme there. Asya, Asya. I think it's a long does your grammar specify the basic form for this? There's Asya. No, it wouldn't be that. As. It's got to be long. It means oral. It's cognate with the Latin word for mouth. And tulya is missing. Is a stem meaning equal. So it's a three-part compound. Tulyasya prayatnam means it's above having equal articulatory efforts in the mouth. Let's see about prayatna. M is the case marker. Oops, I don't want all that. And the stem ends in This is that very common final stem, the largest class. Effort, endeavor, try, attempt, precaution, great care. Prayatnaha, prayatnau, prayatnaha. Denominative forms there. So things that have the same oral articulatory effort are called savarna. That's a compound. Sa prefix meaning not prefix technically. It's like I say, compound, first component of the compound. This is that one meaning same. And varna, color. In the everyday language, the word meant having the same color or being similar, same shape, same appearance. In grammar, it means, well, you tell me. What do we call it in English? When two or a certain different sounds have the same effort. That's maybe a bit hard to guess, but I'll give you a moment to think about it.
우리는 짧은 메시지를 짧은 연필로 씁니다.
짧은 연필. Oh, that comes later. 메시지를 oh boy. 짧은 Okay, I need to see this. Let me just word bank it. 우리는
짧은 메시지를
짧은 연필로
씁니다.
Short message with a short pencil.
그 케이크는 너무 써요.
그 케이크는 너무 써요. It's very bitter. That cake is very bitter. Too bitter. Very bitter.
빵이 짜요.
빵이 짜요. Looking at the T in ligature, it is different. Looks like an L. They are homoorganic. Exactly right. Savarna. So in the metaphor of the work. That's an accidental coalescence, I think. I'd be very surprised if they're related. But not 100%. I'm not hundo P. Good mnemonic, though, I suppose. Although varnish is the thing that precisely does not have color, I believe. Vernix in medieval Latin from Byzantine Greek, Berenike from Berenice. Very nice. A town in Cyrenaica. No idea where that is. Varnish, varnish. So V from a medieval Greek, beta, V. Show me what this is. Oh, in Eastern Libya. Somewhere on planet Earth, that's all you can really tell from that fragmentary map. Near Tripoli, I guess. Pangi chayo. What's this?
짜요.
Bread is salty, or the bread is salty. Oh, and the reason that one would look like an L is another way to write those two. There's not just a single way to conjoin these Devanagari shapes. In the one rendered here on my Lexilogos, you get an enclosure with a contained part, or you can just write them in sequence. So your regular T, just without the stem, and then your regular N with a stem. Tna here. Maybe that's too low. Not helpful. Okay, so it's the same thing, just different ways of combining them. So it's kind of like Chinese writing in that way, especially in the older stages. Nowadays, things are pretty firmly either left, right, or top, bottom, but it's much more flexible early on. Make sense? Does that align with what you're seeing in the book? 빵이 짜요.
작은 과자는 짭니다.
작은 과자는 과자 candy. The small snack 짭니다 is salty. Crackers.
신선한 야채는 비싸요.
신선한 야채는 비싸요. The fresh vegetables are expensive.
큰 나무.
큰 나무, big tree.
저는 짠 수프가 좋아요.
저는 짠 수프가 좋아요. I like salty soup. Okay, so the whole thing, the whole sutra, tulyasya prayatnam savarnam. Things that have the same effort in the mouth are called home organic. And on that topic, something that we'll see maybe at the end of this subchapter is another very convenient way that he groups sounds, classes of sounds. He uses the Shiva Sutra order for phonemes, as we talked about, but there's also the basic alphabet order, ga, ka, ga, gha, nga, and so on. First 25 stops. Then yara, la, wa, the 4 voiced ones, sha, sha, sa, hal, ha, the 4 fricatives at the end. He uses, to mean all of the velar stops, he will say ka varga, or for short, ku, where the u is indicatory. When he uses ku, he inflects that like a regular u stem noun, though I don't think there were any single syllable ones in the language. So what that means is the nominative form will be kuhu, and the ablative genitive will be koho, with an internal change. Okay. Vowel gradation. Alright, 짠 수프는 we already translated.
신선한 딸기.
Talgi strawberries, which are fresh. And likewise, chu means the 5 palatal stops. Ja, cha, ja, ja, nya, including the nasal. Du, rather, with the retroflex means the 5 retroflex stops, including the nasal. Na. Tu for the dentals. Pu for the labials. Ku, chu, du, pu. Bitter fruit. 싼 과일은 싸요. So, bitter. 싼 과일은. 싼 과일은 싸요. 써요, rather, right? 쌉니다. Oh, bitter is also so. These are 쓴. Okay. Fascinating. 쓴 과일은 we still need 일은 쌉니다. 과일은 쌉니다. Short book. 짧은 책. So geminate one here. 짧은 책. 짧은 책.
अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः प्रथमः पादः वृद्धिरादैच् अदेङ्गुणः इको गुणवृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके इति च दीधीवेवीटाम् हलोऽनन्तराः संयोगः मुखनासिकावचनोऽनुनासिकः तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णम् नाज्झलौ.
Okay, we've got time for another sutra. Since this one is quite simple, it's just a nice succinct definition of that term. Organic. Can you do 1-1-10? I'll get the Devanagari. Najhalo. It's a fusion of several words. 2 words, I should say. First, a particle. Same related to some. Yes, exactly. From an Indo-European root, sem. Our word same is cognate. Belongs in the family. Same and similar. Najhalau. This is the sutra. It looks like a single word because it's written together. That's just how the writing system works. And in fact, so the sa and the sum, quote-unquote prefixes, former components in compounds. They're grammaticalized variants of the same root, yes. One meaning now same, the shorter one, and the one with the nasal meaning together. So can you transliterate that next sutra, 1-1-10, which I have entered there. Oh, I'm going to get it nice and big also. It's an unusual cluster that is challenging. Just do what you can with it. Maybe let's hear it a few more times too.
तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णं नाज्झलौ. तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णं नाज्झलौ. तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णं नाज्झलौ.
우리는 긴 책을 읽습니다.
긴 책을 읽습니다. We are writing a long book. Read, 읽습니다. 나jalao, separate in the book. You're right. That would be when they are 2 separate words, more or less. Interesting. That I disagree with that separation though, unless it's just because of the vowel. Na is the first word, and then we have a compound word consisting of do the underlying forms. Ach, hul, stem end, and then the suffix is au. We know au. Oh, we need to get the 4th case forms, dative. Let's do those 2. After we talk about najhalao, please remind me that we need to learn the basic endings, the 3 of them, for chaturthi vibhakti. 우리는 read, not write. Right as the double S. Sada.
케이크가 쉽니까?
Suda, it is rather. 케이크가 쉽니까? She
쉽니까?
is the cake sound.
매운 소금.
So ajhalao is a dvandva compound. A and B. L is indicatory too. It means Uch phonemes and Hull phonemes. Which is pretty all-embracing. There's nothing that doesn't include, but it's used in a special sentence. We'll talk about the meaning in a second. Meun sogum, that means spicy salt. Naj, it wouldn't be nudge, that's a long vowel, naj. Jhalo. Jhlo, no, it couldn't be that. That's with not enough vowels in it. It's missing two more. It needs two more. I think you will find that it is Naj, and then maybe a space, and then Jhalao, like this. Unless there could well be a mistake in the book, I suppose. Let's get it up on screen here. Naj Jhalao. There. What continues from the preceding sutra is Savarnam, which means home organic. Na is the negator, and these two Uch, Hal conjoined like this, that's something Sanskrit does. When you have two parallel subjects conjoined, it puts them in a compound and gives it a dual ending. Au is the ending as in su au jas, aur shas. The middle one's there, au for the nominative accusative dual. So it means the two things, vowels and consonants, are not homogeneous. What's the word? Homorganic, sorry. So a good spelling out of the meaning of this sutra would be vowels and consonants, even if they share an oral articulation, articulatory effort, are not homorganic. And what it means is we have palatal consonants like ja, cha, ja, ja, nya, and ya, and so on, and sh are palatal. And the vowels E, long and short, A are also palatable. That is true, they are so described, but there is no assimilatory action going from one of those classes over to the other that you would have if it was a palatal consonant acting on another consonant. Does that make sense? We have labial vowels, labial consonants, ba, pa, ba, ma, and also va and ma. And then we have labial vowels, u in any length, and o and au. But these, when the grammar says homorganic, it doesn't mean this type of homorganicity. Only within the consonants and within the vowels upon each other. That's the meaning of the sutra, na chalao. It's an exception to the general principle that he stated in the sutra above. All right, so Naj Jhalao, as it should be. Good. The Jah, this geminate J with aspiration, that's just the normal Sandhi outcome of when Cha or Ja final meets a Ha, which is actually barred. It doesn't occur in spoken Sanskrit. Okay, so now for the next triplet of case endings, we've done su aur jas, aurt shas, da bhyam bis for instrumental. The fourth case is dative, the word for fourth. Chatur ti, my goodness. Chaturthi is feminine, vi bhakti. Vi bhakti. These are stems, no ending. Chaturthi vibhakti means fourth case, means dative. The endings are nge, hard to get. Gotta type it all. E, not the absolute, but the combining. pyam pyas. This triplet is for the dative endings. Nge pyam pyas. And only that initial eng is a label letter. It's never pronounced with eng. Can you transliterate that chaturthi, the ordinal word there?
고추는 너무 맵습니다.
고추는 너무 맵습니다. Peppers are very tasty, are very spicy. It says, oh cool, the word for four still has the medial T sound, right? Modern Hindi, char, took it out, like four too, very good. Yeah, quatuor and tetares or tessares, Latin and Greek for four, are the cognates. This is a kind of a cool inflection, I think, in this one. The nominative plural for four, there's only plural, of course, not singular or dual because of the meaning, it's inherently plural. Chatwaraha. I think. Chatwaraha. What is it? Chatusri, I think. Chatusraha? The grammarians give the form for the numeral as chatur, the shortest form, and then it inserts vowels for certain forms. Let's look up chatur. Inflection, alas. Chatwari is the neuter form. Chatwaraha, chatwari.
빵이 달아요.
Turti, not vibhavit. That, oh, I forgot to add the suffixes there. Vibhakti is the word for case. Vi is an upasarga, first component. Bhakti, vibhakti. If the stem is with it and it's connected to a letter, then it's a K. Vibhakti. Chaturthi is correct though. Chaturtha. Oh, should be chaturtha. Suddenly down. Yeah, the feminine one adds an E suffix. Fourth day in the lunar fortnight. Quetvorthos, quetvores. Fedwertho in Germanic. Quartus. Chaturtha. So it's got, because it's an adjective, all three genders are there. Here, this one will tell us. Oh, this is the ordinal though, not quite what I was looking for before. Chaturtha. But here we see these nice forms with the R superscript, R initial cluster above the line. Yeah, vibhakti. And this cluster too can be written in multiple ways. You could have the K on top, T below. That sidesteps the odd combining form of the K. Pangi tarayo. Tara is different. Tara? 달라요, that would be.
달아요. 꿀,
꿀.
꿀.
꿀잼.
신사과가 맛없어요.
신사과가 맛없어요. The bitter apple?
신,
Sour. Taste bad.
신과일이 많이 있어요.
과일이 많이 있어요. There's a lot of sour fruit.
신과일이 많이 있어요.
So those first three words, first three syllables, all from Chinese. 신과일이 많이 있어요. 많이 있어요. Levi says all of these sanyoga letters are going to be the death of me. So hard to read. Well, just pretend it's Chinese. Let's see some clusters. Not all occur, of course. There's lots of constraints. But some fun ones would be in the... Okay, what's this name? Oh. A freebie there. We have a divine name. And the stem looks like this. Let's just practice. If that's a troublesome point, Sanyoga means clusters. A little hard to read in Devanagari. We've also got... Oh, that's the same thing. Can you read these two? So transliterate these guys. I'll leave them nice and big here, but also put them in the chat.
저는 단 음식을 먹습니다.
단 음식을 먹습니다. I eat
단,
sweet food.
설탕하고 꿀은 쉬지 않아요.
설탕하고 꿀은 쉬지 않아요. It does not do sweetness. What's this one?
쉬지.
Sour. Oh, okay, shin is not Chinese. It's Korean. It's got an N suffix for sour. There's a hanja flavor word that is read as shin. It is the one that is YTJ, this one. That means like pungent rather than sour. Okay, but we're doing the Sanskrit also. Let me leave that up. 설탕하고 with sugar. 꿀은 honey. 쉬지 않아요 is not sour. Honey with sugar is not sour. That one is neat. Like the N has to be diagonal. Sugar and honey. Mine I think is correct too. I'm going to point out. The N has to be diagonal to fit under the G. I like it too. Yeah, Agni. There can be a little vowel creeps in between the consonants. And not glow. Look again. I'll show you glow. I'll show you glow. It look like that. I don't know of a meaningful glow, but there is this one as a verb root. I think it means like to be slippery. Something like that. To be weary. So not this glow, wrong vowel. Sugar and honey at once.
그 피자가 매워요.
피자가 매워요. The pizza, that pizza is spicy.
단 오렌지. 단,
This is sweet. Okay. Sweet Dan, orangey.
이긴 책은 재미없습니다.
It's July, that's the one. Okay. There we go. Next word. Let me not copy it. Let me not cut it. I never entered it. Two more for you to transliterate. 이긴 책은 재미없습니다. This long book is boring. Peacock feathers on the same letter. AI versus peacock feathers. On the same letter, yeah, on the single stem. So for o, ow, that's right. Yep. Pretty much. It always adds an extra stem to write the labial diphthongs. And also long
긴 바나나와 작은 사과.
긴 바나나와 작은 사과. A long banana. Buddhaya. Not quite. The first one's correct. The first one is Buddhaya. And that embodies, I'll show you what the structure is, the underlying form. The stem consists of the root buddha and the derivational marker the. The citation form for the grammarians is kta, the indicatory k. That one tells you that you keep 0 grade in the root. It cancels gurnavritti replacements, as we will see in a few sutras, or maybe next chapter, I forget. One of these days we'll learn that as in sutra form, what the k letter does. Buddha and ta give buddha, and the suffix the ending rather, reflects nge. Long banana and 작은 사과 and a small apple.
작은 사과는 달아요.
Okay, this is that sweet.
달아요.
Dungi, probably no connection, just a coincidence. 작은, that there's so many shared letters. Small apple and sweet. Oh, and the small apple. A small apple. 달아요 is sweet. Sweet. So to look at Korean in sort of Paninian terms, for this word tan meaning sweet, add nominal, modifying a following noun. The structure is root tal and a derivational suffix n. And the outcome is delete the L.
저는 단 꿀을 좋아합니다.
Languages, but keeping the same sort of framework for describing. 저는 탄 꿀을 좋아합니다. I like the sweet honey.
매운 라면은 맛있어요.
매운 spicy 라면은 맛있어요. Spicy ramen is tasty.
너무 신 과일.
Very bitter fruit. 과일.
우리는 긴 책을 읽습니다.
우리는 긴 책을 읽습니다. We read a long book or long books.
설탕하고 꿀은 쉬지 않아요.
And sugar and honey are not.
쉬지.
Really struggle with these taste words. Sugar and honey. Sour.
너무 신 과일.
Very sour fruit. Too sour fruit. 너무 신 과일. There it is. Sounds a little odd to me to express it this way. in English? So it's not Day93, that second word. Can you guess again? Look at the top bar. In a D consonant, there's a break. That's obligatory. This is D. It's a different one up front here. I'll get rid of Buddhaya since we got it. Buddhaya means unto Buddha. Dative case. Unto the enlightened one. Okay, let's take a little break. We started with Catalan. Let's do a bit more. Check in on our friend Latin. It developed 2,000 years later in this part of the world. Presente.
Tinc un pingüí.
Tinc. Gnanti. That's what it is. This verb form is third plural, active, indicative, subject. So third plural subject, they kill, they smite. And the root is, by the grammarians, shown as hun. This one has a lot of allomorphs, this root. So in the zero grade of the root, in the third plural form, the H reverts back to a G, the old velar, Gnanti. They kill, they smite. The third singular, active indicative, is hunti. Okay, clusters. Let's find some more good examples. What that means, let's see. Oh, let me make it nice and big too. You transliterate this one. Okay, and then we've got this cluster occurs somewhere in Panini, maybe not so much in the everyday language. Tinc un pingüí. Tinc is probably I have.
Tinc.
Tengo. There's with a K. That's what
Tinc.
we're talking with. Perhaps. Un pingüino.
Tu tens la meva samarreta.
Meva. Fruit.
Meva.
Me.
Meva. Samarreta.
Oh, the mine. Okay. Tú tienes mi camiseta. La mi. Samarreta.
Samarreta. No tinc paraules.
No tinc
Tinc
palabras.
paraules.
No tengo palabras, I think. Palabras. Dugged. Close. Nut is that second close to. The Sanskrit word has an inherent vowel in all syllables unless it's cancelled or modified by some other vowel letter. So dugged is what it writes. That short schwa sound is still there. Paraules, we see that this palabras, apparently metathesis. Parabolas. Here the R and L are more faithfully preserved in Catalan, seem mixed up in Spanish.
Els nens veuen la dona.
From ver, what is it? Ven. Los niños ven la mujer. Los niños ven a. Intransitive verb. Yeah.
El ratolí corre.
So we have to rid ourselves of that Hindi habit. It's very useful for writing Hindi that you don't have to put those vowel cancelling signs everywhere, the halant. It makes sense both ways. In Sanskrit, it's generally always there. It was pronounced, not written. In Hindi, it's a not written and a not pronounced at the end of a word. El ratoli corre. El raton. The rat runs. Corre.
Els peixos neguen.
The fish swim. Los peces nadan. With
Neguen.
mutation here. I think it's palabra in palavra. Português. Let's find out. Portuguese word for word. Pássaro. Palavra.
Palavra.
Yep.
Que veus un ruc.
Okay, so I don't know if you had joined us yet, but when we started out with Catalan this evening, we learned
Veus.
Catalan uses its question word what, just like Hindi does, to signal a yes no question. What you see a
Ruc.
¿Ves un burro? Do you see a donkey? Catalan says what you see a donkey.
El lleó dorm.
El lleó dorm. León duerme. The lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the mighty jungle.
Que dorms.
And I think you know the origin of this one. It's palabra and palabra, paraula. It was in Catalan. Where does it come from? It's not Latin directly. It comes through Latin, but not from it. Paraula. Que dorms? Are you sleeping? ¿Duermes?
No veig la teva samarreta.
No veg, no veo. Okay, so Catalan has
La.
two underlying velar suffix for I, the subject. No veo,
Samarreta.
camiseta. I don't see your shirt.
Tu cuines.
Cuines, cooking. Tu cocinas. So that ka for the question marking seems optional, not the only way to ask.
Tu nedes. Nosaltres nedam.
You swim, we swim, nedem.
Nedam.
Nadamos. Tú nadas, nosotros nadamos. Parabole, yeah, I believe so. Greek parabole. Where we get parable.
Vosaltres camineu. Nosaltres correm.
You all walk, we run. Vosotros caminan. Camináis. Vosotros. Vos. Yeah. Not ustedes. Confuse myself there. Nosotros. This nice parallel.
Vosaltres.
So here, Catalan preserves
Vosaltres.
the coded L. Nosotros corremos. I think it was parabolare in Latin. Parabole. The E colon shows eta. Paravoli. Okay, let's look up parole. Parabole, accented on the final. Paraballo, set side by side, and a nominalized form of that. Placing of two things side by side, juxtaposition, comparison, analogy, parable, proverb is the development. Okay, long Ada. Oopsie, one of these days is going to learn ancient Greek. Subunta. Well, that's a pretty complex topic. I think a good way to approach it might be to internalize the Sanskrit system with some of its alternants, which we'll see. Then you'll be well equipped to look at Greek. In Greek, you have lots of fusion with vowels, and some consonants are lost too. So I think Sanskrit gives you a nice, clear picture of the basic endings of Indo-European. But basically, yeah, for feminine, many end in alpha, but in classical Greek, a lot that ended in eta. And that's because it reflects. So, for instance, in the definite article, he, that one comes from sah, feminine, with a laryngeal. So it makes sense that it'd be a long vowel. That's compensatory lengthening. And the Attic Ionic dialects, from which the most important literary works come down, that long ah coming from a laryngeal just regularly became eta.
Yo dormo, tú caminas.
I sleep, you walk. Yo duermo, tú caminas. That sah is Indo-European for definite, the in the nominative singular feminine. Except for sa and so masculine and sa feminine, all the other forms of this article started with a T.
Nosaltres no cuinem, cuineu vosaltres.
Vosotros. Interesting ending here.
Cuineu?
We don't cook, you cook. Nosotros no cocinamos. Cocináis vosotros. Same word order? Good.
Els elefants no corren, caminen.
Els elephants.
Els elefants no corren, caminen.
They don't run, they walk. Los elefantes no corren, same. Caminan. Oh, els and los don't look too similar, but they're both from illos.
Els nens veuen la dona.
So we've got to say los niños ven a la mujer. Los niños ven a la mujer. Look at or see. So how do you
Pagues tu, si us plau.
feel pretty clear about Naj Halal, that sutra, and also the one before? Tulya Prayatnam Savarnam.
한국어는 쉽습니까?
한국어는 Korean language. 쉽습니까? Is it easy?
작은 강아지가 운동을 해요.
작은 강아지가 small puppy 운동을 해요. exercise.
작은 여자아이가 어려운 책을 읽습니다.
작은 여자아이가 어려운 책을 읽습니다. 아, 작은 the small woman. 여자아이, girl, small girl. 어려운, difficult book, reads. Understand the subtitles. Okay, great.
한국어는 어렵지 않아요.
한국어는 어렵지 않아요. Does not do the being easy, difficult.
어렵지.
Korean is not difficult. Quite different from how I say it. Difficult being doesn't do.
귀여운 고양이.
귀여운 고양이, cute kitten. 고양이 cat.
그 언어가 예뻐요.
That language is pretty. 그 언어가 예뻐요.
한국어는 쉬운 언어입니다.
쉬운 언어입니다. 한국어는 쉬운 언어입니다. 쉬운 언어입니다. Korean is an easy language.
영어는 쉽지 않습니다.
영어는 쉽지 않습니다. Doesn't do being hard. English isn't hard. It's not easy. Always forget this.
이 책은 어려워요.
이 책은 어려워요. This book topic is difficult.
이 쉬운 언어는 어려워요. 이
시어는
쉬운 언어는 어려워요.
that this difficult language is easy. This easy language is difficult. Yeah, I'm really not good at it.
여자아이가 쉬운 책을 읽어요.
여자아이가 쉬운 책을 읽어요. Easy.
여자아이가
쉽다. The girl easy book reads.
강아지가 어려운 언어로 말해요.
강아지가 어려운 언어로 말해요. Puppy 어려운 speaks a difficult language.
귀여운 강아지.
A cute puppy.
어려운 언어를 배웁시다.
Let us learn 어려운 언어를. Let's learn a difficult language. Okay, as you're getting a little sleepy, let's do one of Yiddish and call it a night.
Die Vereinigten Staaten.
Vereinigte Staaten.
Die Bank.
Die Bank. Kind of quiet. Okay. Yeah, I am pretty far from the mic. I'm not speaking up too much. I'll try to improve. Sen, is it a short one?
10.
Sein. Diphthong.
Es ist Freitag.
This is Freitag with a reduced vowel. It is Friday.
Freitag kommst du?
Freitag kimsti. Interesting word order. Freitag
Freitag
kimsti.
kommst du?
Written kommst du.
Bis wann ist sie in Russland?
Bis wann ist sie in Russland?
Bis wann ist sie in Russland?
In Russland. Do we hear the duh?
Bis wann ist sie in Russland?
Don't hear it.
Bis.
Russland. Until when is she in Russia?
Freitagabend.
Freitagabend. Okay. Friday evening.
Für was bisen Abend?
Farvos bisen. Abend.
Abend.
Interesting. Listen to that.
Abend. Für was bisen Abend?
Why until evening? And bisen may be a fusion of bis with into. But it's Abend with a fricative rather than German Abend with a stop.
Für was gehst du jetzt?
Interesting word that actually. Abend. Do you know the gender for evening? talking about German now. The sound, I think what happens is what's written as an N has no vowel in it. It assimilates to the preceding stop. So I would transcribe it something like this: long Abend, Abend. Because the labial stop is in a coda, it's voiceless. Is it in a coda though? You could view it as the onset of a syllable. Abend. Is that one syllable or two? Not wise enough to know. Der. What?
Farvos geist die jetzt?
Farvos geist jetzt. Jetzt.
Farvos geist die jetzt?
Jetzt. 4 letters. Why are you going now? Exactly, it's masculine. Der Abend. Very good. Abend. So written B-E-N-D, but I would say pronounced P-M-T for those sounds. Abend.
Wiffel? 10 Kinder?
My feeling is the lips should not really open up, unless you're doing like a real exaggeratedly careful German pronunciation. Abend sounds really artificial to me. Much more natural to leave the lips sealed. Abend. Until you get to the T at the end.
Wiffel? 10 Kinder?
How many? 10 kids? How many decades of kids do you have? Wiffel? Wiffel? 10 Kinder.
Wiffel? 10 Kinder?
Kinder, maybe a true vowel in syllable 2, Kinder.
En jetzt?
And now, jetzt.
Der Abend.
Der Abend, fricative, the evening.
Nein, nicht jetzt.
Abend feels like a 2-syllable word. Yeah, maybe it is. Abend. So maybe Abend. And it's not excluded that the N could be making contact. It could be a simultaneous MN articulation. Abend.
Nein, nicht jetzt.
No, not now. Nein, nicht jetzt.
10 Frauen, 8 Männer.
10 women, 8 men. 10 Frauen, 8 Männer.
10 Frauen, 8 Männer. Bis morgen.
Bis morgen. Okay, so we see the reduction in the spelling there too. Not morgen with a vowel, but morgen altogether.
Bis morgen.
Morgen, 3-consonant cluster.
10 oder 8?
10 oder 8, 10 or 8. All right. Bid you a restful evening for your eyes. Thank you for joining us. Hope to see you next time. Please give us a follow or a like. That's even a thing on Twitch. Okay, see you next time.